gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah.
Once you put a case on it, the total weight comes down to around 264 grams. At that point, I honestly start wondering whether I'm using a smartphone or getting in a workout session. That 400mm focal length is seriously impressive, but let's not forget this phone still weighs around 260 grams. And with a price tag of roughly 2,000 yuan, or about 223 pounds in the UK, the big question is it actually worth buying?
A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out our exciting tech content.
Hey everyone, if you had to pick a flagship smartphone right now with virtually no camera weaknesses, which model would come to mind? Looking purely at the specifications, the vivo X300 Ultra would probably be at the top of the list. By now, you've likely already seen plenty of camera samples and performance tests from other creators. So today, I want to focus more on the strengths and weaknesses I've personally noticed while using it. Let's start with the color rendering. The vivo X300 Ultra comes with two blueprint color profiles, original and vivid. These two modes produce noticeably different results. Original mode aims for a more realistic look, staying closer to what your eyes actually see in terms of colors, lighting, and shadows. The downside is that the exposure level can feel a bit too low. Vivid mode takes the opposite approach by boosting brightness and increasing color saturation, creating photos that are more visually appealing at first glance. So naturally, the question is whether there's a middle ground between these two styles. Besides the color profiles, vivo also includes a native lighting option directly within the camera interface. Once enabled, it enhances the contrast between highlights and shadows, giving images a stronger sense of depth. After testing it extensively, I found that combining vivid mode with native lighting delivers the best overall experience for everyday photography. The photos have richer colors while still maintaining strong light and shadow details. The X300 Ultra also introduces a blueprint color system that's somewhat similar to Apple's approach. It includes 6 different film-inspired styles that can be switched directly within the gallery. For users who enjoy customizing their photos, there's also an advanced mode that allows further color adjustments, and it even supports sharing settings through QR codes or accent presets. Honestly, this is something I think other smartphone brands, including Xiaomi, could learn from. Moving on to the ultra-wide camera, the hardware remains largely unchanged compared to the previous generation. It still uses Sony's LYT-118 sensor. However, vivo has upgraded the stabilization system from SEPA 5.0 to SEPA 6.0. Video capabilities have also improved, now supporting 4K 120 FPS 10-bit log recording along with Dolby Vision. Beyond landscape photography, one of the most important roles of an ultra-wide lens on a smartphone is video recording, especially for vlogs. The wider perspective, combined with better image quality, makes it an excellent choice for creators. That said, I do have one complaint. On paper, the vivo's ultra-wide lens is rated at 14mm, which is only 1mm different from the iPhone's ultra-wide camera. But when you compare actual footage side by side, the vivo's field of view looks noticeably narrower than the iPhone's. Even when using the wide-angle zoom function and sacrificing some stabilization, the captured scene still appears significantly less wide. That difference is surprisingly obvious in real-world shooting. The vivo X300 Ultra supports 2 optional teleconverters, the 200mm G2 and the more powerful 400mm G2 Ultra. So the big question is, do you actually need a teleconverter? And if you do, which one makes more sense to buy? The X300 Ultra's telephoto camera is built around Samsung's HP0 sensor, and this generation brings a major upgrade in image stabilization. That improvement is definitely noticeable, but from my experience, it's even more obvious once you attach a teleconverter. For most shooting situations, the built-in telephoto lens on the X300 Ultra is already capable enough. However, if you're chasing longer reach and more extreme zoom performance, then a teleconverter becomes necessary. The 200mm version is priced at 999 yuan, while the 400mm G2 Ultra costs 1999 yuan. Yes, the 400mm model is heavier and costs an extra 1,000 yuan, but if you're already planning to invest in a teleconverter, I would personally recommend going straight for the G2 Ultra. It delivers a much more dramatic long-range shooting experience and really pushes the camera system to its limits. That being said, before spending the money, I think it's important to seriously ask yourself whether you actually need a teleconverter in the first place. Based on Vivo's official marketing and the content being shared by many creators, these accessories are mainly targeted at two types of users: bird photographers and concert photographers. I can't really comment on bird photography since it's not something I do. As for concert photography, I've previously used the X300 Ultra with a teleconverter, and honestly, it felt more like a fun novelty than something I truly needed. This time around, after testing the X300 Ultra at concerts, I can definitely say Vivo is extremely competitive in this area. The results are impressive. Still, my personal view is a little different. When I'm at a concert, I prefer to enjoy the performance and be fully immersed in the atmosphere. Constantly holding up a phone and trying to capture photos can take away from that experience. Of course, that's just my personal perspective, and everyone enjoys concerts differently. This also leads me to another question I've been thinking about. If you don't need a teleconverter and you rarely shoot wildlife or attend concerts, is the X300 Ultra still the right choice? After all, the OPPO Find X9 Ultra offers native 10x zoom, a larger battery, and what many people consider a stronger overall operating system experience. Because of that, I feel the X300 Ultra currently sits in a somewhat awkward position. In many ways, this phone feels like it's only truly complete when paired with a teleconverter. But if you don't plan on using one, its telephoto reach isn't significantly ahead of OPPO's solution. And when compared to Xiaomi's Ultra lineup, it doesn't have the same Leica imaging appeal or brand prestige. On top of that, the X300 Ultra also comes with the smallest battery among the three major Ultra flagships. For those reasons, I personally think the X300 Ultra finds itself in a rather unusual spot right now. So, here's the final question I'd like to leave you with. If you're a typical smartphone user who rarely shoots wildlife or attends concerts, would you spend an additional 2,000 yuan just to unlock the full potential of this flagship camera system? That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.